Yeah, that is the question. What did the current president do, and what's the upcoming or incoming president up to? Uh, it would be just too easy to say what is he going to do. Uh, the sky's the limit. Drifting on a whole other level. But at any rate, it's that part. That's what this is. It's a news, information, and education type of program that seeks to get to the part that matters, the part that matters most. And it's that part. And sometimes it's overlooked. Sometimes it's just rejected, or whatever it is. But there's always a golden nugget somewhere within the news or some information, and it's all education. But and so we're going to hit a few things, and then we're going to be out of here. Let's see. We've got, of course, former President Jimmy Carter dying at 100 years old. This week, he will be laid to rest. The body is currently being transported. I think it's in Georgia right now. Of course, he's from Georgia, but I believe they transported it. I'd have to check the sources on that, but I believe they transported it up to the Rotunda because he was a former governor, as a matter of fact, of Georgia. And it's on its way to Washington, D.C., to Lion State there, and for the official funeral. And all five of the presidents of the living presidents are expected to meet there. That will be a scene and a sight for sore eyes, or make your eyes sore just watching it. Seeing how it is that the incoming president has such disdain for all of the previous presidents. And in his own mind, he believes that, he did no wrong and that he was the best out of all the rest. And yet his record would beg to differ. In fact, what is it? Tomorrow, the 6th, will commemorate the day that he incited an insurrection. Yes, that guy. He has been elected to if you want to call it lead, to lead the country again, for another 4 years. And if he has any say in it, it will be not just 4 years. But at any rate, that's what's going on with the former president, and his list of accomplishments is just very, very long to actually complement a very long life that he was blessed to live. So we know where he will be, based on his efforts down here, and not that salvation has anything to do with works, unless anyone would boast. But the fruit of his labor would suggest where he's going. And so God bless his legacy, and may God bless and keep his family. May God bless and keep this nation. A lot of seeds were planted during his administration that are being harvested, at this point in time. He was the first on climate change and everything. And not that it's being harvested, but people are taking note of a lot of his accomplishments at this point in time. And he has definitely crafted the blueprint for how former presidents can still be impactful after they leave office. And I'm talking about impactful in a positive way, because we know that the former president, number 45, was anything but that, or has been anything but that. And yeah, no, I'm not gonna mince any words or anything like that. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of anybody that is that vile and that mean. Um, and is and is so self-centered. And hey, I, I have more. I have more. I'm just saying, I'm not a fan. Don't even. If you're listening to this and you are a fan of his, hey, God bless you and have mercy on you. But just know that you're not going to get any of that over here. I mean, if he manages to do something that's positive and noteworthy and that sort of thing, that's good. I'll mention it and give props where it's due. But it still comes down to the fact of the person, what they stand for, and what they believe in. And I know that all of that, as it pertains to him, is not good for me or anyone that looks like me. That's for sure. So anyway, on to the next item, the weather. Well, before we get to the weather, actually, apparently there is another outbreak, of a virus that's hitting, coming out of China, just as the coronavirus, was reported to do, or to emanate from. And this one is an undiagnosed pneumonia, and it's affecting a lot of kids. 14 around, the mid-teens there, but it's also affecting everybody else too. But it's definitely hitting the teens and the kids especially hard. Some of China's children's hospitals are just overflowing with cases. And in fact, I read something earlier that the WHO, the World Health Organization, has issued a suggestion, that that they have to, change the words around. They don't want it to sound like a mandate or anything like that, because we know that the anti-vaxxers and those like that, the birthers, etc., they get all twisted up. They not that there's an issue or anything like that. No, they just want to make an issue out of something and make it seem like, oh, the deep state is trying to get you or force you to do something, when it's not even about that. But they have issued a suggestion or an advisory that you should wear your masks if you are in the company of a lot of people. Um, I mean, it's just common sense, quite frankly, especially if you are sneezing and coughing and that sort of thing there. And when you wear your mask, you're protecting everybody else, or helping to protect everybody else, and thus the spread of whatever it is that's going around. Now, who knows whether or not it's going to be, pandemic level type of, transmissions. But it is something to keep an eye on. It is something that's occurring in the news. It's that part. It's that part. See, you get it? It's that part. So wear your mask. Oh, also along the lines of it's that part. As the new administration gets ready to step into the mix, we have the HHS nominee, stepping in as well, pending confirmation, of course. RFK Jr. I mean, now this guy, what can you say? What can you say? And I mean, he doesn't even believe in. It sounds like, from what I've read about him and heard him speak on, he doesn't really even believe in science. Let alone medicine and that sort of thing there. But and why the number 45, 47 nominated him, only God knows. I mean, it doesn't even matter because, all of the nominees that he has put forth thus far, are just totally, I'll, in my own opinion, ill-equipped, for whatever the position is. I mean, let's just start from point A. There's a particular anti quote unquote establishment type of bent. There's conspiracy, there's suspicion, there's paranoia, and then there is the element of the desire to control, and in an authoritarian way, in an authoritarian way. That's what we're facing, and I think it'll probably move swiftly because the Republicans control all three branches, and the last time they did this, or they had that type of control, they weren't as productive as you might have think or thought as it relates to their particular agenda. I suspect that it will be probably similar to that because, they still have to get the majority, to approve a lot of different things there. They can approve a lot of things with a simple majority, but I don't think the Democrats are just going to just stand there and be walked over and allow our democracy as we've known it to just slip away just like that. And God knows we need a whole lot of work on it to make it a more perfect union. But the way the new administration is seemingly approaching it is not it. And it's that part. It's that part right there. So at any rate, as I kind of alluded to at the beginning of the program here, what did the current president do, and what's the incoming president up to? Biden is bounding in his way on his way out and booming the economy still. Now, I'm not going to get deep into that at least in this particular podcast, but Biden inherited a mess. Yes, the pandemic, caused a lot of it, but the previous administration caused a lot of it as well, with these gigantic tax cuts for the rich, and none of that money trickled down to anybody. If anything, it trickled all the way back up. But so, Biden inherited all of that, bad practices and all kinds of other nonsense going on. Excuse me. Because the former president had other ideas about what the presidency was all about. It had nothing to do with governing and making life better for the average individual. None of that. It was all about him. And the economy reflected that. The only people that really, really made out were those that were in his similar tax bracket. And not to mention that many in that tax bracket didn't even pay any taxes, or at least not to the rate that everybody else was paying it. Let's see. But at any rate, it's just, I just laugh at that, because the media, they're suspect. I mean, because they were just pushing this narrative that the economy was a disaster and this and that and the other. Meanwhile, Biden's kicking butt. People making money, people getting paid, people getting jobs, industries, being revived. I mean, across the board, you check out whatever the metric is. Biden's administration, his people, the people around him, had a good and positive impact on the economy and all of the other programs associated with it. But for whatever reason, well, for many of the obvious reasons, the media didn't want to really lean in on that. They didn't want to embrace that narrative. No. They're saving that for the incoming administration. So it'll seem like he did it when he did not. Just like the first time. It was the Obama's administration, his economy, that number 45 inherited and commenced to just driving it into the ground with his selfishness. And it's going to be the same way. He's going to inherit another strong economy, and he's going to do, the tax cuts and all this other kind of thing for his people, his constituency, because most of the people in his immediate cabinet, at least the nominees, they're all billionaires. So they're not feeling the everyday thing that you and I feel. Now that's, considering the fact that I know that I'm not a billionaire, but you might be. So you might have a difference of opinion, and that's fine. But none of them would feel anything that they are planning to do as it relates to the economy. It's that part right there. That part right there. So let's see here. A couple other things here. about Biden. He's also he also issued 19 Medal of Freedom awards to Americans. And there's a lot of, everybody on the list is notable, but there are three that stand out for me. Well, actually four, because I seen him sitting there beside one of them. One being the science guy, which is good, because he's proven to be, a very stable and sure and steady voice. I'm sorry about the hand over the camera there. A steady and sure and stable voice over the years, especially during the pandemic, making it plain and dispelling, rumors and propaganda. And he's been doing that for years. So congratulations to him, as well as another notable, Hillary Clinton is on that list, as well as Brother Denzel Washington and Magic Johnson, who just owns all kinds of things there. He too is a billionaire, but he doesn't think like all the rest of the billionaires. In that way, he's a progressive. He's not trying to grift. He's not trying to rob you blind and keep you down and separated, by classes. He's one that has tried to lift people up, that have never forgotten where he's come from, and has invested and reinvested in a lot of businesses that that are involved with uplift of underserved communities, as well as being a champion of people that are doing well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing well, but we all can do better. We all can do better on our way to doing well, and that just does not happen in a vacuum. I'm sure if you would sit down with Magic and other billionaires that are doing the things that he's doing, like LeBron, for instance, they will tell you that they had some mentors, they had some role models that pointed to the way of success, as well as ensure that they understood, that with success, as is written in the Bible, actually, to those who are given much, much is required. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's true. That's true biblically, and it's true secularly. If you've got it, you have an even greater responsibility to help others. Otherwise, there would be no change. Anyway, it's that part right there. But congratulations to all 19 recipients. Let's see here. Some ongoing events. Number 45's false claim about the New Orleans terror attack. He continues to try to make it seem like it's coming from across the border or something like that, when there's not a shred of truth in that. It's fact. It's factually a lie. Simple as that. And I will be calling things a lie and opposed to an untruth and that sort of thing there, because I'm not going to try to water something like that down. is too important for people to think to not take it so seriously. It's that part right there. To take it seriously. That a person would lie like that in order to incense his base, to motivate them to do something similar to what they did, something that we'll commemorate tomorrow on January 6th, and that is to forcibly impose their will on the people of these United States. He's indicated that on day one he would be a dictator. And I know he said it a different way there, but I believe what he said, and I expect that. And there's a lot of people that are just going to be falling in line, apparently. The former Republican Party. So we'll see what happens there. But in fact, all of them, or many of them, are parroting the same false claim, the same lie, that the terrorist was an illegal immigrant, which he was not, obviously. Obviously. Anywho, there's that, and let's see, congestion pricing. Now, this is especially for those of you that either live in and around New York City or goes in and out of New York City. I'm over here on the West Coast, and look, they're putting up toll roads all the way. I mean, all the time out here. I'm sure that at some point in time, sooner or later, all of the roads are going to have a toll on them. And I label that a grift. No matter, what the party affiliation is, that's a grift. But anywho, I think it's been instituted now that if you're traveling into Manhattan during rush hour or something like that, let's see if I can find the story on this other screen over here. Yeah. Congestion pricing. It's supposed to be a test, but I think that when they see the revenue generated from it, it will no longer be a test, or that it'll be a long permanent test, because the measure, which charges, according to the article here, let's see, let's attributed it, the NPR article, the measure which charges many drivers $9 to enter Manhattan during peak hours, is intended to bring relief to the country's most populous city. Of course, Los Angeles would beg to differ with what's most populous. Definitely as it relates to the number of cars, because I'm sure there's more cars out here. But New York and Manhattan, East Coast type cities like that, everything is a lot smaller and more condensed. So it definitely makes it worse. And I've driven through there myself, so I know I know what they're talking about. I hate going through there. I try to avoid that. But at any rate, yeah, $9 just to get into the city. It's expected to help raise like $15 billion or whatever for upgrades to various systems within New York City, and help with air quality, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it's going to do any of that, because people are just going to pay that $9 and continue driving. I mean, there's no other way in or out. So what are they going to do? Just because it's $9, they're going to, all of a sudden start walking into Manhattan or get on to trains that don't exist, or buses or whatever. I mean, it's going to take some time for those systems to upgrade, which is again is a part of why they are doing this. But it's not going to be something that's going to be realized, for at least the next 5 years, if not the next decade. In the meantime, the money's going to be going into the coffers of the city, just like all the other tolls everywhere else. Um, and and that would be all well and good if that money actually trickled down to the commuters and the consumers, and the people actually benefited from this particular action, opposed to the money just going into the coffers of the city and the state. It's that part right there. It's that part right there. So, at any rate, moving along. On this day in history, biblically speaking, although not precise, this period in time is known as the 12th night. That's when the Magi came to see, baby Jesus, who at the time that the Magi actually came was not a baby. Not anymore. Yeah, he was probably running around. um, whatever the stage is after a toddler, or maybe he was a toddler, but he was running around. He wasn't in the manger when they got there. That's for sure. So, but this period in time was about that time. And again, you can't be really, really precise about it, because in those days they didn't use the Greco calendar, for days and weeks and that sort of thing there. But it was this time of year. This time of year. Also, let's see. About now, something that we can pinpoint based on the calendar that we're all more familiar with. On this date, be it this week or this day in particular, back in 1914, racist and anti-Semite Henry Ford did some things. He made some moves that were, really groundbreaking, for that time, or any time for that matter. Because one, he raised or established a minimum wage for his employees at $5 per. I think it was $5 per. Was it per day? Let me see here. What was that? Was it $5 per day? Let me check that real quick here. Let's see. I got it up here on the screen here somewhere. Was it $5 per day? Let's see. Where is it? Or where could it be? I know, for goodness sakes. I know I got it here somewhere. Because I just read it. Just bear with me. Bear with me. There it is. Okay. Industrialist Henry Ford introduced a new policy setting a minimum wage of $5 per day, which was viewed as a significant increase at the time. And he also reduced the workday down to 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. And again, that was a reduction too. So imagine what it was, what the standard routine day was. I believe it was somewhere averaging at least 10 hours, if not more. And not to mention, the fact that there were young kids working, 6 days a week. Incredible. And it's interesting how the good Lord can use anybody, because I know that there had to have been some intervention there, for a person to be racist like that and anti-Semite like that, to institute policies that revolutionized the labor industry. Now, all of labor didn't, change their minimum wage or anything like that, and there wasn't a national minimum wage at the time either. Change is sometimes slow, like justice, but it was something that started a movement and led to some positive changes in the labor industry that are still present today. So shout out to the racist anti-Semite Henry Ford. Let's see what else. What else? Well, I think that was there has been a whole lot anyway. But you get the gist of it. The show is about like that. It's that part right there. The parts that that matter most. That you might not really think about, or you think about in hindsight, like, right, yeah, exactly. Be it something that's written or something that's said, it's that part right there. So at anywho, we're going to get out of here. Again, it's that part is a news and education and information program that zeroes in on the part that really matters. You can check us out across all of social media. There's various handles all dealing with that part there, but some are Jesse, it's that part, some it's that part, etc. So I won't go through all of that because I know you won't remember all of it, but you can remember to just go to the website www.itsthatpart.com, and you'll have all my social media there. Plus I'll have links to all of the social media in the bio, in the description below, because what I post or tend to post are those golden nuggets, are those parts that are important, not only my original content, but I will repost something that I've read or seen and attribute to that particular person that really matters, that really gets to whatever that point is. There's a lot of people who are awake, aka woke. That's not a bad word, and that's what we are here. We are definitely awake. We're definitely woke. We see it. And if we see it, we're going to try to shine the flashlight on it so that everyone else can see it. Nothing negative or anything like that. We're just trying to be positive and progressive, moving forward. That's it. Is that part right there. So until next time, let's go.